Today's video, we're going to talk about Google automated recommendations that Google provides you by hitting the recommendations button within your Google Ads account to supposedly help you improve your ad account. This only goes so far. If you don't know what you're doing, in short, automatically just taking on any recommendation Google provides you is not going to make you money. It's going to lose you way more money than you stand to gain. You've got to be able to decipher which of the recommendations are actually relevant and which are not. I personally use it as an ad manager because once in a while there's some good information in there that the AI system that Google has understands something that I just can't understand through my regular analysis. But the average Joe in there just saying, oh, Google recommends it, oh, okay, click, 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 and then just do that as a part of their ad management strategy aren't going to get rich with Google Ads. Sorry, it's not that easy. And guess what? If it were that easy, everybody else would be doing it in your space. There would be no advantage. You got to be able to do more than your competition's doing, assuming you have some in your space, not the same or less. Anyway, I will actually go through what is the actual recommendations that I usually do take on, as well as the stuff that you stay the hell away from because it's going to do nothing but drain your wallet doing this, okay? This is all need to know information if you're going to make the most money with your Google Ads. That's why I put it on this channel. So with that said, I'll get into the content here. The number one rule, okay? The number one rule above all other rules as it comes to Google Ads is you need to think for yourself, not let Google think for you, okay? Google, I know this is your platform. Hey, you guys can improve and learn something from this as well. And I'm just stating the, bona fide truth here, which is Google has to make money for themselves and their shareholders first. In corporate law, it says that if you, as an executive of a company, don't put your shareholders first over your customers, you are breaking the law. You can go to jail for that. I.e., look at the Enron scandal. Okay? They didn't put their shareholders first. Executives went to jail. So this is very simple. No matter what you think that these executives and people that make decisions on the Google Ads platform want to do, they have to try to make money for their shareholders. They can't just play both sides of the fence. Of course, they'd like to do stuff for their customers that will make them stick around longer. Yes, I understand that. But I can tell you from firsthand experience, most people that do Google Ads don't know what the hell they're doing. They're in, they're out. 90% of people who try Google Ads don't make any money. And they're just basically trying to hope to get as much money from them as they can before they quit. Because that's 9 out of 10 people who are going to do Google Ads. They know they're going to be there for 2 months. They just know this. Well, why not try to extract 3 times the amount of money we can out of that person in the first 2 months? Because that obviously makes more money for our shareholders. So, I know I could get trampled for sharing this opinion here, if you will. But Google's trying to make money for themselves. The tool is just a tool. You can kill somebody with a hammer, or you can build a house with it. Okay? That's a perfect analogy for these recommendations. So Google's providing recommendations. If they can, through the recommendations, make more money for them, while still not making money for you, they have to do it. So just don't get... People, they just, for some reason, they trust Google, but they don't trust a person that's helping them make money sometimes, which is, I don't understand it. You need a trusted third party to give you accurate information on whether to buy from a software vendor or an advertiser or whatever, because the advertiser's going to tell you whatever the hell they damn well want to tell you to get you to part with your money, period. Okay, so back to the information here. What I use for recommendations that Google provides as a 15-year veteran that runs Google Ads, and just all I do all day long is just do ad strategy for clients. And also have a YouTube channel to share with you the stuff that works. Here are the recommendations that I basically do actually use that Google provides, okay? Just so that you know what value you can extract out of it. First of all, the ad extensions, or they call it ad assets now, you know, the part that goes on the bottom part of the ad, on a search ad, they actually tell you what extensions to add to the ad. They'll likely get you more results. But it's an idea. It's not a, okay, click, do it. No, use it as a piece of information. Okay, they're saying if I add a call-out extension to my ad, I'll be able to get more clicks on this ad that already works. Okay, great. Go and do it yourself. Don't just click OK. Okay? That's what this information that they provide you, where the real value is. Sometimes you can click OK. I do admit I do that. But don't just automatically think the way to implement their suggestions is to click OK automatically, because that's dumb. So they tell you what extensions to use. Well, and by the way, you should use all your extensions anyway. But I know how it is. We only have so much time sometimes when we start out, or if we haven't run our account for a while, we don't have all the extensions used. It's telling you what the most likely best, you know, what's the extension that will get you the most money the quickest is provided for you in the recommendations. Well, that's useful information, right? Beyond that, I also like the fact that they tell you what site link descriptions to use. Because you can have a site link with or without a description, and it takes a long ass time to make descriptions on all your site links, particularly if you have unique site links for each service campaign or product campaign that you have. So if you haven't done descriptions for everything like that, it'll tell you which one's most likely to get you the best bang for your buck up front. Okay? So that's also useful information. Furthermore, what ad headlines to do next? Their recommendation saying that you should use this headline on this ad, not add more headlines, because obviously we all know we could add more headlines and test and test and test, and potentially if we test long enough we'll find something that works. It's not what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about when they say add this headline to this ad. That's also very useful information. But they're not, it's not AI generation of headlines where they're like, they understand your product or service and they understand what people that you selling, what you're selling, who you're selling to want to hear. That's not what this is. It's, they look at headlines that work on one part of your account, and then they look at another part of your account and they say, hey look, this ad headline over here that you're using over here works pretty damn good. I bet if you use it over here, it's going to make this ad work better. That's the information that's useful here to get you to basically use the information that's available in your account that you're not using to your advantage there. And then you can use that headline idea, if you will, which really is not an idea, it's just pulling the information and bringing it to your attention. That also is very useful. A lot of the time for clients' accounts that we're managing, I glance at it, I use it as information source. So those are the two main things though that I use recommendations for. That's about the extent of it. The rest of the crap is basically how to make Google more money, okay? So they give you useful information basically, blended in with the non-useful information that will only make them more money. Now granted, of course, all the information they could provide more profit for their clients in some of the cases, right? But this is all a game of probability. If you're advertising, you've got to go after the stuff that's most likely to work, not could work, or not likely to work, or could possibly work, because you're going to go freaking bankrupt before you find out what works that way. You got to go with the most likely to work thing before, next, then go after the next most likely thing to work, and then the next most likely thing to work. That's how you build up a multi-million-dollar a year ad account for your business. Not, let's try some random ass shit here and hope it works, and throw Jello against the wall and see what sticks. Because that's dumb. So, with that said, ultimately, those different recommendations are mainly what I use. And even the recommendations that I told you about, it's still not that useful, because I could go ahead and add custom ad extensions to every one of my ads and make them unique for every category of product or service I sell. and not need the recommendations because I was proactive basically about what I'm doing. And then for the headlines, I could go look at all the headlines that were doing well, like looking at the combinations of the headlines that worked in my ads, which you can do with your ads, and just automatically take the winners and apply them to other campaigns myself. So this isn't even stuff that I couldn't even do on my own. It's not even that useful in itself. It saves some time more than anything. But the other recommendations, for the most part, are again about making Google more money mostly. Could possibly make you money, not likely, so therefore it makes it dumb to just go for it. Or at the very least, if you do it, you should come back in a month and check and see if you made more money in terms of more sales proportional to the increase in ad spend that you now have, or whatnot. There, you get what I'm saying? And if not, reverse it. Not just because what they're banking on more than anything is you click OK, and then you pay. You assume it's going to work, and then for the next 12 months, it gets more money from your wallet progressively until you find out eventually later on that was a dumb move. Well, they got 12 months worth of your money. You're not getting it back. Okay. Most of the recommendations that Google loves to provide in the recommendations section of your account is for broad match and smart bidding. Now, smart bidding in itself, I use basically every time at a certain point within the account when we have enough data. Okay, so them wanting to have you do that, that's not necessarily a bad sign. But again, it's one of those things, you can't just automatically assume that they're saying it, oh, it must be the best time. No, you got to be able to think about what they're providing you and then add your own filter as to say, okay, they're saying it's a good idea, is it really a good idea, and then apply it if you also think it's a good idea, in addition to Google's advice. Don't just blindly, in other words, follow their advice. On the smart bidding, if you've got at least 30 conversions on any one product category or service category that you're promoting within your account, that's pretty much the time I switch over to smart bidding, okay? I won't go into any more detail on that, but that's the gist of it. Now, the broad match keywords gets recommended like every single time to every single account. And then on top of that, the Google reps like to, or should I say love, to recommend the broad match keywords. Obviously, I think it's clear that the reps are getting comped for getting you to switch to broad match keywords, because ultimately it gets you to raise your spend, and if it raises your spend, why wouldn't they comp their reps that reach out to you and offer you advice on getting that done? Logically, it would make sense. And I'm pretty damn sure that that's the case. Well, that recommendation's just like a virtual salesman, if you will, to try to get you to spend more money. Broad match keywords, if you're using phrase match keywords or exact match keywords, is going to get you to spend more money. Now, if you had smart bidding with the proper settings set up to where you say, I must get a 400% return on my ad spend, and then you turn on broad match keywords, it's going to spend a bunch of your money, waste it, and then slow down. But if you don't have any controls on that, it'll freaking 10x your spend with basically no extra sales. And going back to what I was saying before, they know most people aren't going to stick around, so they get a bunch of your money before you quit. And that's kind of the win for them, if you will. So, and to say broad match never has any use, that's not the case either. It's just 90% of the time for you guys, 90+% of you guys watching, broad match isn't the way to go. Yes, you could do broad match keywords and get more sales potentially and have it work out if you have 4 or 5, 10 keywords in your account, and you're not going to put the time in to put in the 300 different variations. Put 300 different variations of a keyword search in there that you should, so that you don't have to use broad match. You can run your campaign tight. But if you only had 10 keywords, not 300, and you had them all in phrase match, you could only get so many. You could only get in front of so many people in your market that are eligible to buy. In that kind of situation, you could possibly make money with broad match, but it's not still the most ideal way to run a campaign. For the most part, you start out running, you find not just a few, but all the keywords that will work, that are likely to work for your market. You run them all in exact match. When that works, you run them in phrase match, keeping the exact match but adding a phrase match version of your keyword in your ad groups. And then once you've gotten that to work, if you want to go a little bit further, you can go to broad match then, but only then, because the chances are just going to broad match right away, it's not going to work out. You're just going to piss your money away. So, but with the recommendation engine that Google has, it's going to recommend broad match to you regardless of kind of your situation. It just wants you to spend more money. They know if they offer you broad match, it'll spend more money. It gets what they want done. Not so much, your profitability of your business is a secondary consideration to them getting you to spend more money. Now you know what to be aware of. So there's other stuff that they recommend, obviously, but these are the main things that they cover that are both useful and that are routinely, we'll just say, non-useful for most advertisers, that you kind of want to, again, you want to have a keen eye and you want to really think over what you're doing before you actually take the recommendations as is. So with that said, I'll pretty much just end it with that. Just be very wary about what you're doing. If the term, you hear people say all the time, I'm just smart enough to be dangerous in what I'm doing. If you're smart enough to be dangerous with your Google ads, you're going to lose a lot of money most likely doing what Google recommends to you. If you don't know anything about what's going on, and just don't use the recommendations, bottom line. Find somebody who can help you that actually, which 9 out of 10 people that you can hire to manage your ads don't give a shit if you make money either. So you have to find the right